welcome back to Help My Child's Anxious, the podcast with me and my therapist daughter, Saskia Joss. Hey, okay, now you have sent in quite a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's what we've been inundated with.
Yes.
I know a lot of them have been quite similar, which is why we've amalgamated into this one, which I think is going to help a lot of parents.
Okay, so in essence, mushing a few of the questions together, they simply say, although we've got the summer holidays to come and it feels a little bit as if people are worrying in advance, what about the transition from primary school to secondary school? And I think parents are worried because their children are already apprehensive and we haven't even got to the end of the summer term yet.
Yeah, I think parents begin to worry at this point when they start, for example, like at my school yesterday, the children got their leavers jumpers. So even though we've got 5 more weeks till the end of term, and in America and in Ireland they're finishing the summer yet, but we've got another 5 weeks. The parents are beginning to notice we're coming to the end of year 6. We've got to start preparing our children for new schools. Some parents will only just accepted their primary school places as they've been appealing them or trying to change the plan. And we've got now, in theory, something like 2.5 months until children will actually start secondary school. So you can see why parents are beginning to think, how do we prepare for this?
Okay, so if I were to say it's a really long time, try not to talk about it at all or think about it, except occasionally to say something like, it's going to be really great fun when you start a secondary school. I've heard it's marvellous. Somebody told me that they're having a party there. Somebody told me that their kids are having a great time. Occasionally fling that in.
Yes.
But apart from that, don't mention it because it's not for ages. They don't have to spend the whole summer worrying about it. Yeah. Is that the wrong thing to do or the right thing to do?
It really depends on the child. So some children love information. The anxiety decreases when they know what's going to happen. That really helps. So some children will love the information. They want to walk past the school. They want to go on the bus route before they've done it a few times over the summer. They want to be in the school WhatsApp group. They want to go to any additional open days that are available. There are some children that love the information. The information is what helps them feel prepared and able to manage the next phase. And there are some children who would really rather completely ignore it until the end. You will know your child. That's one of the things we talk about on this podcast all the time is, you know your kid. I don't know your kid. You don't know their kid. If your kid is the kind of child that has always liked information, sit down with the school website. Tell them what kind of subjects they do there. Read the list of clubs they have at lunchtimes. Some children love the information. It makes them feel relaxed and prepared. It makes them feel like they know what they're doing. So for those children, we want to give them enough information, tell them the right things, show them the picture, take them to the open day, take photos of the things in the open day that they might want to remember over the summer that they might be nervous about. And for other children, I would hardly talk about it, exactly like you said, and be a very positive PR person every time they talk about it. I would say, it's just going to be so exciting. I know you're so ready for it. I've got some stock phrases I love for talking about secondary school. One is, if you stayed at your primary school, you'd literally be too big. You'd be too big to go there. Like the classrooms get bigger in size for you.
The loos are too small.
Yeah, the loos are too small. It's too small. It's all too small. And you've already been there such a long time. You've learned everything they can teach you. And now you're like literally too big to be there. You're physically too large. And next year, if they put you back in year 6, you'd find it incredibly boring because you know all that stuff. So you kind of need to move on now. And you're ready to because you're the right age and the right size and the right person to do it. I'd also remind my child of their successes. So lots of children have just finished SATs. It was a really big deal for them. They've just completed their first big proper exams and they've done it. Even if they didn't pass, who cares? Doesn't matter. They have done the process. They've finished year 6. They've done everything they're meant to. I would say everything you've done up until now, you've succeeded beautifully. You've made great friends. You've done really well. You're absolutely ready for the next part. And I know you are. And I would give them this feeling of confidence in their ability to manage the next thing. And I think I would also be considering, what is the feeling that's making me feel worried about it? Why am I worried for them? If it's social, you're worried that they might find it hard to make friends. See if you can reach out to other people in the local area, remember which kids are going to the same school, and do some play dates over the summer. I know they're 11, but they absolutely can have a play date to the cinema where you drop them off at the cinema or sit a few rows behind and they can hang out with each other. And it reminds them they've got this social connection already. If you're worried about the work or you've had a child that's always been a bit behind, I would absolutely take the opportunity to do a bit of extra work over the summer. Not all children can need to do extra work over the summer, but we know that children go back a third of a grade over the summer. The summer slide, they call it. If you've got a child who is already behind and you know that, I would use the summer slide to your advantage. Don't let your child slide back. Then they're going to come back in a better place than the other children who've slid back.
So do a few sums, do some reading, do some writing.
A nice person in your local area is a nice older person who's really good at looking after kids and wants to do a bit of extra work with them. You've got a nice neighbour who happens to be good at maths. Send your kid over to do some maths with them. It doesn't have to be formal tutoring. It doesn't have to be expensive. Ask on your road. I've got a lovely WhatsApp group on my road. Ask someone on your road good? Is anyone any good with maths and could do a bit of maths with my kids, and then work out an arrangement? There are ways that we can support our children over the summer so that they don't lose the momentum they've gained this year, particularly for children who are already behind. And I would think I'm going to use my opportunity to push my child forward at this point. And then I would do all the logistical stuff. We do it we talked about before, for doing it for reception, drive past the school and say, that's my school. Get excited, start building up this positive momentum behind going there, and start making it feel like it's a great thing. And also ask them, what would you need to know to feel comfortable going? And then find out the answers to those questions. Write me a big list of the things you want to know, the uniform, which form group he'll be in, and I'll see how many of them I can work out before you start. And just fill in the blanks that they need to feel comfortable going there. I think the other thing that comes up for parents is if you know that your child has a special need, you know your child is neurodivergent, the fear that they may not manage it in a new setting feels very overwhelming for parents.
Yeah.
So, most kids will find year 7 a very big transition, but obviously neurodivergent children with autism, ADHD, dyslexia will find those things harder. There are lots of people like me who can help you manage your child's secondary transition by writing a letter, that kind of a forwarding letter for your child. Obviously most schools will do that, but you might feel like the school haven't understood the thing you want them to say for secondary school, for example. So they might write a letter that says they need extra time for exams, but they don't write a letter that says you really feel that issue's going to be more social for that child that's struggling socially, is the thing you're most worried about. Contact someone like me. I don't have to live in your local area, but there may be people in your local area. And let's talk about your child, and let's work out what's the fear and how do we bridge that gap for your child by writing a letter to a new school, by working out steps that you can do together over the summer to make them feel more independent. Give me a ring, give someone like me a ring, and let's talk about how we get our kids ready for your child so that it is bespoke, so it is specific to your child. It might be we just talk about it and make a plan, or it might be we write a letter to a new school to make sure that they've got everything they need about your child, your history. If your child's been through something difficult and you want them to understand it without having to talk about it in front of them on the first day, like they've had a bereavement, let's write it in a letter that's really formal, that shows them they've got to take it seriously.
Okay, so that makes an enormous amount of difference, and I'm sure that's very helpful. All I remember about secondary school was the exact opposite of every single thing you said. I remember I felt like I'd been dropped in from outer space. I swear.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know.
No one gave you any information,
No.
you mean?
No information at all. I had a new pencil box, or what do you call it? Case. And like a big enormous gym bag with a whole lot of stuff in it, and a satchel. I imagine a whole load of stuff. And I just turned up.
The gear and no idea.
I swear to God, I didn't know anything about what I didn't even know that at senior school, certainly when I went, instead of all sitting in the classroom and there being a teacher, you had to get up after every lesson and walk to another part of the school carrying all your stuff, to get to the lab and to get to the gym and to get to the geography or whatever the hell was going on. I was just like, I think I was so stressed. I didn't breathe properly for about 6 weeks. I was so shocked. Nobody.
Survival mode.
No, it was a survival mode. No one briefed me.
No,
that's all about it.
We know that most children will need some information.
Yeah, God, I think everything you said
at the school is great. Opportunity to speak to people who've been to that school before, but obviously don't let an older child tell them how awful it is. That won't help a lot. No. If they've got a cousin who hates it, don't have that person be the person that gives them the information. And remember, for both of you, new things are only new for a very short time. It's true with Christmas presents. It's true with jobs, and it's definitely true with going to a new school.
It's true with romances.
It's true. New things are only new for a very short time. So they're going to go there and it will feel very new and overwhelming, and they won't know where the science lab is. And then in a few weeks' time, I would say it takes about 3 weeks for some children, about 2 months for other children. This is just the school they go to. This is a place they go every day. They know that teacher's name. They know where the lunch hall is. And new things are only new for a very short time, and then they just become the things that we do.
Okay, so everyone who asked us about that, I really hope that helped. And if you've got any questions for Saskia, you can also ask me. I probably won't know the answers, but you can certainly ask us anything you like. All you have to do.
You're doing really well.
I'm doing my best.
Is getting this a year? I think you're doing it.
Oh my God!
As far as I'm concerned,
you just have to get into. Well, like all this ever does is tell me all my deficiencies,
no, it
and not only that, but my own parents' deficiencies. Which
that one more so.
Absolutely
after all this,
numerous as hell.
Yeah, your parents really didn't do a lot of sharing good information or being supportive about a lot of stuff.
Not at all.
That's okay.
There's a lot of you made your bed and you must lie in it, or you sink or swim. I think, and a lot of the time, I think I was trying to swim, but swimming really badly.
I think you've been a great swimmer.
God,
I think you've done extremely well.
Bronze personal survivor.
That's all you need.
Silver personal survivor.
Pajamas.
Blow up your pajamas and tread water. Put your chin on your pajamas.
I think you've done very well. Lots of personal survival.